2:17 a.m., the entire city was asleep. Only a light drizzle fell onto the empty streets. The yellow glow of the streetlights reflected strangely across the wet pavement. And in the middle of that silence, inside an old telephone booth, a phone was ringing, but there was no one there to answer it. Because that telephone booth had been abandoned 35 years ago. There was no electricity, no telephone line. Its number didn't even exist in any government records anymore. And yet, every year, on the same date, at exactly 2:17 a.m., the phone inside that booth always rang. And the strange part was, whoever answered that phone never had the same life again. My name is Kabir Sen. I'm a telecom restoration engineer. For the past 12 years, my job has been to survey abandoned telephone exchanges, old communication lines, and forgotten telephone booths across the country, archive their records, and preserve their technical history. To me, every old telephone was nothing more than a lifeless piece of metal, wires, and circuits. Places that other people called haunted or cursed, I saw as nothing more than broken equipment. I never believed in ghosts, spirits, or anything paranormal. I always believed that every strange event had a scientific explanation. It's just that we hadn't discovered it yet. But that belief changed forever. The day an old file, covered in dust, was placed on my desk. Only one thing was written on the cover: maintenance order. Telephone booth No. 9. I was confused. Maintenance? For a telephone booth? That had been permanently shut down 30 years earlier? I opened the file. Inside were only 3 documents. The first, a black and white photograph of the booth from 1989. The second, a maintenance report, half of it burned. And the third, a small handwritten note. It contained only one sentence. If the phone rings, don't answer it. I smiled slightly and placed the note back on the desk. I assumed it was just some joke left behind by a retired employee. But the last page of the file made that smile disappear. It read, Assigned Engineer, Rakesh Duda, status, missing. Below that, another name. Assigned Engineer, Mehul Joseph, status, missing. Then a third name, Assigned Engineer, Vivek Rao, status, missing. 3 engineers, 3 different years, and all 3 had disappeared. I immediately called the records department. They said only one thing. Sir, the less you dig into booth number 9, the better. I asked, why? There was silence on the other end for several seconds. Then the call disconnected. I couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, I made up my mind. No matter what, I was going to see booth number 9 for myself. By evening, I loaded up my maintenance van and headed toward the city's old industrial district. The farther I drove, the quieter everything became. Abandoned factories, broken utility poles, and rusted telephone lines. It felt as though time had stopped there long ago. Finally, my van came to a stop at an old intersection. There, standing alone at the corner of the road, was telephone booth number 9, covered in rust, its glass shattered, completely alone, completely lifeless. I looked at my watch, 2:16 a.m. without warning. The wind died completely. The rain stopped. And a second later, from inside that dead telephone, a loud ring echoed through the silence. Ring. My throat went dry. The phone rang again. Ring. Slowly, I opened the booth door. The moment it opened, a blast of ice-cold air struck my face. The phone kept ringing. My hand slowly reached toward the receiver, and the instant I picked it up, a faint, trembling voice came from the other end. Kabir, you finally came.